our our virtual college road trip. Today's stop is University of California, Santa Cruz. And I want to just welcome everybody and let you know who I am. My name is Michelle Levine, and I'm the Director of Teen Initiatives at the Jewish Federation in San Francisco. We are part of a funders collaborative, being one of 10 cities around the country that is working to increase teen engagement in Jewish life. And this year we've actually partnered with 5 other cities out of that 10 city funder collaborative to offer this virtual college road trip today and during the month of June. We're obviously very thrilled to be a part of this initiative, and we want to thank the Jim Joseph Foundation and a number of local funders who have helped us be here today. In a moment, I'm going to allow our panelists to introduce themselves, and then we'll have the chance to hear from each of them. Throughout the session, if you have questions, again, please use the Q&A function. There were questions written in advance, and so we will ask, I will be moderating and asking those questions as we go along. And if you have any additional questions, we hope to have some time at the end to have that Q&A session. So with that, one other thing, if you're having any tech problems, please, we have a tech support here that will be available for that. So let me start by introducing our panelists. Diana Torres, can you please introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Diana Torres. I'm the UC Santa Cruz Admissions Outreach Representative. I am an alum also from UC Santa Cruz. I did graduate a few years ago with a bachelor's in sociology and Latin American and Latino studies, and I have been with the university since I graduated. So I'm always happy to speak about our campus. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Diana. Dalen.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dalen Deagle-Smith. I'm the Director of Student Life for Santa Cruz Hillel, here to serve all of your Jewish needs, student needs, whatever else you might need throughout the year.
Thank you, Dalen. And Maya Gonzalez.
Hi, everyone. My name is Maya Gonzalez. I am a recently graduated senior, just graduated 2 days ago with a degree in Jewish studies and history. And I'm here to tell everyone a little bit about Jewish student life on campus and on our virtual campus in the past year.
Wow, congratulations and mazel tov, Maya. That's amazing. I can't wait to hear your portion as a recent grad. Okay, so thanks again for everybody being here. At this time, I'm going to pass it over to Diana, and she is going to do her admissions presentation. Take it away, Diana.
Thank you. Okay, let me just share my screen. So 1 second. All right, so I'm gonna give you like a quick little overview of what UC Santa Cruz is all about. I'll touch on what academics we have, such as majors. I'll touch on student life, housing, and then I'll also share the admissions process if you're interested in applying to UC Santa Cruz, kind of like the general UC application as well. So UC Santa Cruz, we are one of the 9 UCs under the University of California system. We're actually located up in Northern California. And we are about 5 driving hours here from LA area, so SoCal, and an hour and a half south of San Francisco. We are a coastal university, so we are very close to the ocean. It's like 2 miles. We're actually 2 miles off the coast, and we're sitting on 2,000 acres worth of redwood forest. We have tall, beautiful redwood trees. You'll see wildlife like deers on our campus. There's turkeys as well, super random, but we do have turkeys as well at UC Santa Cruz. So we are a very like green, I would say, earthy type of environment. We are definitely more on the chillier side as well. It does not get as hot as it would in Southern California. And then, like I said, we're very close to the ocean. So I feel like students definitely like that access of being able to, you know, walk down there, take a quick bus, or maybe go downtown, since we're kind of like more of a small town university. So students definitely like that easy access. Lastly, we're also the closest UC to Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley is this innovative industry where many of the tech companies are located. So like Google, Facebook, just to name a few. And we were identified as one of the 20 universities most likely to land you a job within this area. So many students do go and end up working within some of these top companies. And it's actually across all of our majors, not just like within engineering per se. In terms of our majors, we have 70 majors, 39 minors that fall under these 5 academic divisions. Currently, the most popular major has been computer science, but there's also others like film and digital media, psychology, business management, economics, human biology, among like the top most popular majors. And each year we keep adding to the list. So some of the newer majors include our critical race and ethnic studies. We do have a continuous program where you can do your bachelor's and your master's in like electronic and computer engineering. We have biotechnology. We also have agroecology. So this is where you learn everything related to what is agroecology, as well as like sustainable food systems. And we do have like a 30-acre organic farm within UC Santa Cruz. So there's a lot of opportunities for you to do volunteer work, engage in internships as well. And then we do have like education, democracy, and justice if you're interested in the education field. When you're all applying to UC Santa Cruz, when you're filling out the application, you are admitted into a proposed major or an undeclared cluster if you're maybe unsure of what major you want to go into. And you have until the end of your second year to declare a major and let us know, like, this is what I want to get my degree in. So that gives you plenty of time to really explore the field and find the best fit for you if you're unsure of like what major you might want to go into. We don't have any impacted majors at the moment, but we do have 2 selective majors, and that is computer science and computer engineering. By selective, it simply means that if you know that you want to go into them, please make sure that you propose them in your application so that you go into those majors, since you're not able to switch at a later time. So it's only computer science and computer engineering. All of the majors, very common for students to double major, some triple major, my props to them, or pick up on a minor. And it is also common for students to switch majors, typically like within their first 2 years, if you're unsure of like what direction you want to go into. Within all of our fields, you will find that research is being conducted. Research is probably something that you're going to hear across a lot of these university presentations. And I do want to invite you all to keep an open mind and encourage you to engage in research when you're on our campus. 75% of our undergraduates do participate. Some start as early as their first year, some wait until their second, third, fourth year, is really up to you. Research is problem solving and innovation. It's taking the theory and putting it into practice. So you will find that there's a lot of opportunities for you to, get that hands-on experience. You can work with your professors, ask them, are you working on something? Do you need an intern? And also working like within your major department to seek these opportunities. So keep that in mind. A little bit about housing at UC Santa Cruz. So we have the residential college system. So it's a little bit different compared to the traditional universities where the housing spaces are separate from academic spaces. But at UC Santa Cruz, these are all shared spaces. So these are 10 like little neighborhoods that are spread out throughout UC Santa Cruz. You can see that architecturally, each residential college is different. Some of these have been there since university first opened. They're also located in different areas across campus, and they also differ by their theme. So for example, we have College 10, that is social justice and community. We have Kresge, that's power and representation. You actually get to choose where you want to live regardless of your major. These are not major specific. You're going to live with students across all academic programs with different backgrounds from different areas across California, out of state, and internationally. So it does create like a very diverse living and learning experience. Within every residential college, you have the academic buildings. That is where academic advisors at. So like your counselor on our campus, right there within your own little community, dorms where you live at your first year, apartment spaces, and then for every 2 sister college, there's a dining hall. So 5 dining halls that you can eat from, unlimited times. We do not cap you on the meals that you eat per day. And then we do also have 13 cafes, restaurants that are spread out throughout the colleges and some of like the main areas like the Curry Plaza, where a lot of our students get together throughout the day, or like McHenry Library as well. Within these residential college, you will find that there's a lot of programming that happens. So you really get to know who you're going to school with. And the reason why these were created was so that students had that small liberal arts college feeling, but everyone is part of UC Santa Cruz. So there's a lot that goes on within your own residential college, but also within like the greater UCSC community. So it's a little bit about housing. In terms of like student life, there's a lot that you can do. Like your involvement does not end after high school. Like you continue that on our campus. We have over 200 plus clubs and organizations, everything from like ethnic, career, religious, and lifestyle options. We do have Greek organizations. Some students may be interested in joining Greek life. You can see that we play Division III in athletic teams like men's tennis, women's volleyball, basketball. We have some intramural clubs like ultimate frisbee, soccer, for example, just to name a few. And we are a coastal campus, so there's a lot of water sports. There's actually like a huge surfing community within Santa Cruz city itself. There's sailing, water polo, and a lot of like outdoor recreation activities that you can engage in, like hiking, kayaking, and some of these you can register through our campus through their OPERS, to engage in them. And then last but not least, we have our culture and identity resource centers. We have the African American, the American Indian, the Asian American Pacific Islander. We have the Chicano Latino. We have the Lino Cantu LGBTQ plus center, the Women's Center. All of these resource centers, they offer workshops, they do events, culture events, meeting, study spaces, and really a community for y'all to thrive in. I always highly encourage students, like get to know all of these clubs and orgs, join the ones that you find the most interesting, because it's just gonna make your experience that much better within our campus. You get to meet other students and kind of like create your home away from home through these spaces. As far as like your support systems on our campus, you're going to have a ton, and these are just a few, but you are going to have 2 academic advisors, one within your residential college, and then also a department advisor for your major. So they'll help you identify classes, internships, scholarship opportunities, and of course, research that you can engage in if you're interested. And we also have EOP, the Education Opportunity Program. So I do encourage students to select yes to be considered for EOP within the UC application. This is just additional resources and support systems that you can have on our campus. And then we also have our Career Center and Graduate Advising. So the Career Center, they are like the hub of all of student employment on our campus. It is common for students to hold some sort of position, like within the libraries, the gym. There's a lot of front desk positions. So not only are you networking, meeting people, but you also have a little bit of income, right? Some spending money every month for you, just to have. So the Career Center does all of that. And then last but not least, we do have our when it comes to like health and safety, we do have our health center on campus that you can access at any point. It does include a pharmacy as well. We have our counseling and psychological services with a diverse staff. We want to ensure that we are meeting all of our student needs. We also have our own fire station. We have over 60 emergency blue light phones. And we also have a nighttime safety escort service. So if one day, for example, you're studying really late at the library and you want to have someone walk with you, you can call in and one of our student ambassadors will walk with you from from the library back to your dorm, wherever you may be going during that time. So that's a little bit as far as like the support systems that we have. There's a ton more. So if you have a specific question about one, please do ask and I'm happy to share more about it. I'm switching gears a little bit. I'm going to go into the admissions overview. So what do you need to apply to a UC, to a University of California? All of the UCs have the same requirements, and they are your A through Gs, which you can see listed here, and then the minimum of a 3.0 GPA. These are the 2 minimum requirements to be eligible to apply to a UC. When it comes to the testing, so like the SATs, ACTs, they're no longer required. It is completely optional. If you wanna take the test and report them to us, you're more than welcome to do so. However, the UCs will not consider the SAT or ACT test scores when making any type of admissions decision or awarding any scholarship. So if you were stressing over the test, the standardized test, you don't have to, because you don't have to submit them. It's really up to you. The only it's only being considered like if, for example, you need the test to meet like one of your A through G requirements. So sometimes students, if they're maybe shy of like a year within English, for example, and they scored really high within like the SAT, that can help meet one of your A through G. So in that sense, we're considering the test scores. But other than that, like I said, it's not part of our admissions decisions or awarding any type of scholarship. So up to you if you want to take them. So these are the two minimum requirements. Another part of the UC application is the personal insight questions. So the personal insight questions, I know that they can be a little bit stressful, right? You're like, I don't know what to write. I don't know which questions to answer. Really read through the questions, right? And pick the 4 out of the 8 that you have a lot to talk about, because it'll just make it easier for you to answer the question itself. This is the opportunity for you to let us know who you are. We want to kind of like meet you through the writing, be open, be reflective, share as much as you want to share within these responses, be concrete and write about yourself. I know that we may have, positive influences in our lives and we want to, of course, talk about them, but you are the one applying. So we want to know more about you. All the questions are treated equally, so there's no advantage or disadvantage over choosing one over the other. And think of these kind of like interview questions, being direct and being concise, but providing details and context is really important. You don't need to have like a very creative or like fancy beginning, right? Like one day as I was walking, you really don't need that. You don't need that. Just answer the question as directly as you can, because they are short responses. You want to make sure that every word counts. So I hope some of that helps as you begin looking through these questions. When do you apply? Right now that you've heard of like UC Santa Cruz, you've heard of like the minimum requirements. So when do you apply? So you typically always apply 1 year in advance. And the application becomes available every year on August 1st. So over the summer, you can go in, create your portal, start filling out some of your basic information, personal information, and then just take it week by week. It is a lot that we ask for, right? All of your personal information, your high school, your coursework from like 9th grade all the way to 12th grade, and then extracurriculars, volunteer work, maybe employment if you held some sort of employment. All of that is going to be included in the application. You want to make sure that everything is filled out completely, that it's correct, that it's accurate, that you're not missing any information. So please spend the time to fill it out. The filing period for you to like press send is always in the month of November. So the 1st to the 30th. There's no priority if you submitted the 1st versus like the 24th. You have that whole month to submit the application. But I do always encourage students like submitted by that Thanksgiving break, so you cannot not worry or try to get stuck right those last couple of days trying to complete it. There is an application fee, which is $70. However, there is a fee waiver integrated within the UC application. And if you qualify, then the UC will waive the application fee for up to 4 campuses. They're going to ask you like for some household income information. And remember, it is one UC application. And from that one application, you can apply to all 9 undergraduate campuses. Most students definitely take advantage of the waiver and apply to 4. After that, it would be $70 each to send it to another UC. And then last but not least, I do want to share a little bit when it comes to scholarships and aid. I know this is another very important part, right? As we're thinking about college, how am I going to pay for it? Try not to worry. I know, again, easier said than done, right? But know that you are not alone and you are going to be receiving support. Through the UC system, we have something that's called the Blue and Gold Opportunity Plan, and we also have the Middle Class Scholarship. The Blue and Gold is for household incomes below the state median of $80,000. If that's your case, then through the Blue and Gold, you're going to have your system-wide tuition and fees covered. The Middle Class Scholarship helps with a portion, but not all of it. And then we do have campus merit scholarship that are awarded to students in recognition of both academic achievement and also demonstrated financial need. There's no additional steps to be considered for these scholarships. When you submit your UC application, you're automatically entered and considered for all of these scholarship opportunities. So we use the information listed within the UC app. applications that we do encourage you all to fill out, students and families, is the FAFSA, the Free Application for Federal Student Aid, or the California Dream Act that follows the same priority filing period. There's also your Cal Grant. The Cal Grant is through the state of California that you get awarded money. So this additional funding, right, scholarships that you may be receiving and that may be eligible for. And then also look at outside scholarships from like companies, organizations that give out money to students. Loans are going to be part of any packet that you receive from UC Santa Cruz, but it's really going to be dependent on how much loans you have to take out on all of the aid, right, that I just mentioned, from FAFSA, right, and also those outside scholarships that you are looking into. So please start looking now. It's never too early, never too late. And once you're on our campus, you can continue looking for these opportunities. There's scholarships like within like the residential colleges, within like your majors, or there's like opportunities, right? Like internship, research opportunities, or student positions on campus that can help pay for some of your expenses. So I hope all this information helps. I know that definitely, finance is a very important part of like the college experience. So I hope all of that helps. And with that, I'm gonna wrap it up. I hope you have like now a really good overview of what UC Santa Cruz is all about. I do have some of our websites listed here and my contact information as well. If you ever want to reach out, you're more than welcome to do so. I'm here to guide you and help you on this process. So please feel welcome to reach out at any point.
Thank you so much, Diana. That was so thorough. We actually have a couple questions for you. I want to encourage our attendees also, if you have additional questions, to throw them into the Q&A at the bottom of your screen. But one of the questions that we got was around the STEM program. Can you talk a little bit about STEM at UC Santa Cruz?
Yes, of course. So when it comes to STEM, there's a lot of programs, right, that you can engage in. So I am going to be sharing 2 websites in the chat for you all to go into. There's different, like I said, programs or initiatives right within campus that you can join if you're interested in like, just having like faculty mentors or engaging in internships or research as well. So I'll go ahead and share those. Like we have like the ACE program, we have CAMP, which is like the California Alliance for Minority Participation. We have like a multicultural engineering program as well. So they take you on like different, workshops, conferences where you get to meet other students, engage in dialogue with like faculty as well. So I'll go ahead and post those and share them on the chat.
Great, thank you. Another question that has come in is regarding support for students with learning differences. What sort of support services do you have on campus for students around their academic needs?
Good question. So for that, I would, there's a ton, right? We do have different accommodations like within housing and academic, and that is handled by the DRC, which is the Disability Resource Center at UC Santa Cruz. You meet with one of like the service coordinators there and kind of like talk about, what support you need. There's like some of the academic accommodations that they have are like if you need like a note taker or you need additional time when it comes to test taking, whatever support it may be, there you're going to work with one of our service coordinators within the DRC office.
Great, thank you. Another question here is regarding housing and dorms. What happens for housing after freshman year? Or do students stay on campus?
Good question. So at the moment, the UCs are not able to guarantee housing, right, because of the pandemic. So housing changed a little bit, but typically first year students live on campus, right? And you are more than welcome to live on campus your second, third, and fourth year as well. We are prioritizing housing right now for all of our new incoming freshmen and transfer students as well. And like I said, after that, you're more than welcome to remain on campus. I would say though that some students, typically like junior, senior years, when they decide to go off campus to get some of that off campus experience. And we do have like a community rentals office that like helps you through that process as well. But at the moment, like I said, we're not able to guarantee housing. However, students are more than welcome to live on campus all 4 years.
Great. I have two more questions and then we can pass it on to Dalen. One question is regarding diversity on campus. How is of the diversity on UC Santa Cruz's campus?
Good question. So when it comes to diversity, I think that's something that we are constantly striving, right, to be a diverse campus. But I will say that you will find a lot of support systems, right? This is why we have like the resource centers, we have our student organizations as well, right? Where you find different groups of people, right? And that you can join and kind of like find your home away from home through these spaces. So we are a diverse campus. I would say that we're very welcoming. There's a lot of events where we do bring our students together. And maybe Maya can also, talk a little bit more about that in that aspect. I feel like, that she's a current student at the moment and can maybe speak a little bit more to that.
Yeah, and then one final question, and we'll put that under Maya's question list. But one final question for you is access to professors and class sizes. What is that like? I imagine it to be somewhat different freshman year to other years, and maybe also Maya might be a good answer for you to jump in. But Diana, do you have anything specifically around what the experience is like for students in the context of access to professors?
Yeah. I would say the professors are very accessible on our campus. They have office hours. You can always just set up appointments to meet with them. And I think usually when I speak with faculty, they always let students know that we are there for them, right? You really just have to show up to office hours. We currently have a 24:1 student to faculty ratio, so professors are very accessible. And when it comes to class sizes, some of the introductory courses to your major, especially if it's a popular major, may be large. Currently, 70% of our classes 62% of our classes have 50 students or less. So for the most part, we definitely do like that smaller, classroom setting where you can really engage in dialogue and have deep conversations. But like I said, some of the introductory courses may be large and can range from like 100 to one of our largest one, which is around 400. But for those classes, you're not only going to have your lecture time, but you're also going to have a 1-hour discussion another day in the week with one of our teaching assistants where you again dive into the material as well. On top of that, there's a lot of support systems like tutoring that you can engage in as well. So it sounds a little bit scary right, when we talk about those large lecture classes, but you are going to be having, like I said, a lot of support when it comes to your academics.
Thank you so much, Diana. Thank you for your presentation and thank you for your answering all those questions. We really appreciate you being here. And we will, Diana, if you don't mind, you could also put your contact information in the chat and we will be sending a follow-up email to all of our participants also with the contact information. So at this point, I'd like to pass it over to Dalen to talk about Hillel.
Thank you, Michelle. I'm Dalen. I am the Director of Student Life for Santa Cruz Hillel. Our slogan is a Jewish space for all students. So whether you're Jewish, Jewish, or simply an ally of the Jewish community, you are welcome at Santa Cruz Hillel. We've had much more conservative Jewish students be a part of it. We've had secular Jewish students be a part of Hillel. We've had students that have converted to Judaism. We've had students that are interested in converting, and we have students that are not Jewish at all and simply love the community that we foster at Hillel. We have a whole bunch of things going on. We do Shabbat dinners, celebrate holidays, have social events, have professional development events. I'm going to share my screen with you all to show you. I don't know why it's not showing me pages. Give me just a moment. Give me 1 second. But I do have a a little slideshow to share with you all to show you some of the events that we've done over the last year. So give me one moment. It is not letting me share my screen. So hang with me for 1 second, please. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Michelle, it's telling me that I would have to quit my Zoom in order to share. Can I share my presentation with you and potentially you share the screen? All right, give me one moment to do that. Again, I apologize for the delay. All right. When you get that, hopefully shortly.
Okay. All right, let me just open these up.
Thank you so much. And I see Diana put into the chat all of the information about the STEM program. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and check that out as well.
I am sorry, it's having me now log in to get the password verification code.
We've all been on Zoom for over a year and we're all still figuring it out. So thank you all for bearing with us.
Yes. It is not a seamless system. Okay. So let me move this over here and back to this. Share my screen. And
Thank you.
there you go. Does everybody see it?
Excellent. So kind of just going to go through a few different events here. You'll be able to see our students. And again, these pictures are just from this past school year. So you'll see a lot of masks, social distancing in place, and some also Zoom photos. So we do Shabbats everywhere. This last year, we've really reached out and done Shabbats at more than just at Hillel, which has been really fun. We did a Shabbat at the beach, which you see here. We had pizza, salad. We all hung out, sat on the beach away from each other. This was before vaccines were out, so we did make sure that when we were not eating, we had masks on, but it was a good space to have community, be outside, and this is at the beginning of the year and to really start the year off right. Go to the next one. We do movie nights. Obviously, this last year we did most of them virtually, so this is one of our Zoom movie nights. We called it Netflix and Chillel, and we watched a few different movies. These photos are from when we watched The Golem, which actually Maya helped to plan. And we also watched both Borat movies and Wonder Woman. So those were our movie nights this year. For some of them, we sent out popcorn. Obviously, when we are in person again, we will have popcorn, snacks, treats available at Hillel in person when we do movie nights. But until we can fully be in person, we will send you all of the goodies. All right, thank you. Next. This is one of our social events that we did. We made friendship bracelets. So we sent out friendship bracelet string to everybody, and everybody was given like a secret partner that they also made a friendship bracelet or keychain for. And then they sent it to them. So they made one for themselves and one for a friend. We, like I said before, celebrate lots of holidays. For Sukkot this last year, we made edible Sukkot, edible sukkahs. And out of really anything, graham crackers, vegetables, peanut butter. There were lots of things here, chocolate. So that was fun. This is something we would definitely do in person as well. to de-stress, we did a Dead Sea spa night before finals, one of the quarters this year, which was a big hit. We sent out Dead Sea mud straight from Israel to your door. And then we all got together and just relaxed a little bit in conjunction with Hanukkah and finals. And so just to build community, we celebrated Hanukkah and had some face masks. We got a lot of hikes. We are in the middle of the redwood forests, like Diana said, and it's absolutely gorgeous. We also are right by the beach. So we've gone on hikes by the beach, we've gone on hikes in the redwoods, and there's so much to explore on campus and around campus. And we definitely take advantage of that to be together. More holidays. Tu B'Shvat this year was, of course, virtual. So we sent out Tu B'Shvat packages with a Seder kit, and we went through the whole Tu B'Shvat Seder together and with some explanations. And so that's just a little snippet of our presentation where you learned a little bit about the holiday. We do baking and cooking. I'm really hoping we can do this in person next year. It was tons of fun. Virtually, and in person is going to be even better. But this was when we made some Israeli chocolate balls. They're absolutely delicious. We also made things like shakshuka, matzo ball soup. What else did we make? Tabbouleh, borikas, and a lot of other things this year that we made. There was a challah making class as well. So tons of fun learning how to make Jewish foods from tons of different Jewish cultures, not just an Ashkenazi culture, which is what you see more often in the United States, but we embrace all aspects of Jewish culture from all around the world, because we do have students from all around the world and all different types of Jewish cultures. We don't always do Shabbat dinners on Friday nights. Sometimes we celebrate Shabbat on Saturday with a shabrunch. We had a whole bagel spread, bagel layout. This is right outside of our Hillel building, and just get together and celebrate a peaceful Shabbat morning. And we've done Havdalah as well. So we'll go to the beach in the evening and we celebrate the end of Shabbat and the start of a new week next to the ocean, just with each other and with community. I think that was it. Oh yes, we did have a visit from Bernie Sanders this year. So he is a big Santa Cruz Hillel fan. So if you come here, you may get to meet him like our friend Joe did here in this photo. So that is it for the slideshow. If anybody has any questions, I would be more than happy to answer them. We're here for all of you and all of your needs.
Thank you so much, Dalen. That looked great. The pictures were great, and it actually really captures this 2020 year well. So that looked like you really made the best of it. So we do have a couple questions for you, Dalen. One question came in around safety for Jewish students on campus. And of course, this is also adds to a question around the current climate around Israel and anti-Semitism. So if you could speak to that, that'd be great.
Yes,
thanks.
That is a super important aspect of what we do and why we are here, why Santa Cruz Hillel is here for you as Jewish students on campus at UC Santa Cruz. I'm going to tie both of those questions together because they're really inseparable. And I'll just speak to what's been happening currently with the rise in anti-Semitism, including at UC Santa Cruz. However, our Dean of Students at UC Santa Cruz and the Executive Vice Chancellor have been engaged in conversation with many Jewish students that are also involved with Hillel. We've been helping to set up those meetings and moderate those conversations so that Jewish students can speak to the administrators on campus about what they need to feel safe and maybe what is making them not feel safe. And so it's really nice to see that the university cares for our Jewish community, and they're there for us, and they're taking time out of their day to literally call students one-on-one and check in on them and say, hey, how are you doing? I know you're struggling with this. I saw the email you sent me. Let's have a phone call instead. And so that's been really uplifting. I would say that UC Santa Cruz is a safe place and for Jewish students, as well as Santa Cruz itself. And should there be any anti-Semitic sentiments or attacks or anything, that the administration at UC Santa Cruz, along with Hillel, has worked hard to fight against that.
Thank you for that. Another question is if you're a part of Hillel, maybe this is a good Maya question too. If you're a part of Hillel, what is it like to also, can you be involved in other campus activities, and what's that like?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Diana said it too, be involved in as much as you can in college. Hillel is simply one avenue to building a community during your college experience, but we have students currently in Hillel that are on the dance team. One of them is the captain of the dance team. People are involved in student government. We have people involved in their college, their individual colleges. Maya can speak to that, I know. People involved in tons of different clubs and organizations and sports and everything that you can imagine. And so you definitely don't have to choose Hillel over everything else. We have tons of events going on throughout the week, throughout the school year, that, you know, if you've got a basketball game on one Friday night and you can't come to Shabbat, we'll be there for you next week. So we absolutely encourage you to be involved in as much as possible, and we will support you through that always.
One final question. How has your Hillel gotten involved with other Jewish communities in the area?
Oh, that's a really good question. There are a few synagogues in the area. One is Reform. I believe another is a Reconstructionist synagogue. And I also believe there's a conservative synagogue. I think we're most closely connected with the Reform synagogue. We do have connections with them. We've had both staff and students working at the synagogue, like for Sunday school. So making those connections. And we've also worked with the Santa Cruz Chabad for different programs in the past. And there are a lot of students that will spend their Shabbat Friday night evenings, both at Hillel and Chabad, going back and forth, or maybe services at one and dinner at the other, or dinner at one and oneg at the other. And it's a very cohesive community across Santa Cruz. And it's not like, oh, if you're going there, you can't go there. Again, we welcome you to build your own experience, and we just want to be here to be a part of that and support you and help you find what that right path is for you.
Thank you so much, Dalen, for your time and your answers, and actually in connecting us with our next panelist, a recent college graduate, Maya Gonzalez.
Hi, thanks for the introduction. And Dalen, it warmed my heart so much to see all those pictures from over the past year. So I'll reintroduce myself really quick. My name is Maya. I'm recently graduated senior. I was an affiliate of Cowell College. I worked there as a programs assistant for all 4 of my years, which means that I ran student events. It was a really great way for me to get involved in campus life as a freshman. But I've done so many different things during my time at UCSC, from ballroom dancing to student government, film clubs, volunteering at the health center. I've been to all corners of the campus, and I really can say that I found a lot of places that I can call home, and Hillel is one of them. So I'm going to talk a little bit about why I chose Santa Cruz before I talk about what my experience was like. So when I was looking at colleges, I only really wanted to be in California. I'm from San Diego. I love the weather, and I didn't want to be too far from my family. So Santa Cruz was not originally one of my top picks. My mom went there when she was an undergraduate, and she told me it was where she learned how to think. It was where she learned how to learn. And I, kind of brushed her off initially. And I was like, I want to go to UC Santa Barbara. I want to party. And then I went and I visited all these schools, and I felt like at UC Santa Barbara or UC Berkeley, I would just be a fish in a big ocean. And at Santa Cruz, I visited and I knew that the forest was where I belonged. That the school has this really interesting way of making itself feel a lot smaller than it actually is. Part of that is being kind of isolated in the woods. Part of that is the campus residential communities, the colleges, and then also getting involved in whatever clubs or organizations you want to get involved in. So when I came to Santa Cruz, I had to brush aside some of my past ideas about what college was going to be like, but I'm so glad that I chose Santa Cruz because I wouldn't have found the connection with Judaism and Jewishness that I have today without choosing the school. So to kind of talk about, I've done a lot of different things, like I said, but the Jewish orgs and Jewish parts of campus that I've been involved in are really, and this is very candid, the basis of my Jewish experience. I did not grow up Jewish, and I have Jewish heritage, but it wasn't how I was raised. And so I came to Santa Cruz kind of not sure what I was going to do. And I ended up taking some history classes, and the Jewish studies people, the professors, the TAs, they got me, and I got what they were saying, and I wanted to be a part of what they were doing. So I really honed in on history. At first, I was just doing Jewish history, European history, wasn't sure what I wanted to do. But like I said earlier, I did graduate with the double majors in history and Jewish studies because Jewish studies is so much more than history. The Jewish life on campus is so vibrant, and the community is so much more than just academia, but the academia was really part of it for me. So I've taken lots of Jewish studies courses, which range from literature to culture to film, history, and we have a sort of focus on Holocaust, if that's something that you're interested in, which is how I sort of got interested in Jewish history at first, but there's so much more out there. So I'm really glad that I was exposed to the department early, and I could kind of engage in the study of Jewish history and Jewish culture. And that is what led me to the community. So I didn't end up coming to Hillel until I must have been a junior or the end of my sophomore year. And I didn't really feel like I fit anywhere at Santa Cruz just yet. And then I came to a Shabbat. It was a special, I think, Oscars Shabbat or something. And there were candles, and the room was the ambiance was perfect. And I didn't know anyone. I knew the student life director, but that was really the only person that I knew. And immediately I felt like I was welcomed. I didn't know the words to the Kabbalat Shabbat songs. It didn't matter. I just came and I enjoyed it. And that's how it's been ever since. I've been learning in the community because it is such an accepting community that people just want to share their Jewishness with you. And so in Hillel, I've done Jewish learning fellowships where we've learned about different parts of Judaism or Jewish text or culture. Dalen can probably speak a little bit more about that, but there are so many different things that Hillel can bring. For me, it was learning and community. For other people, it's more like just making friends and socializing and finding that Jewish connection. But then outside of Hillel, there is also Chabad. I never got the chance to go to Chabad because we went into lockdown and it was kind of all at once. But I am also a member of Sigma AE Pi, which is the Jewish sorority on campus. And it's funny that I say on campus because I rushed virtually, which is not something a lot of people did. But I thought that it was the perfect place for me as someone who is female identifying and wanted a space where I could connect with other Jewish women. And it ended up being really the highlight of my senior year, going to Hillel events with those girls, going to Sigma events with friends from Hillel. It really all just works perfectly together. Just because you're involved in one thing doesn't mean you can't be involved in another. It's just one big community. And I, as you could tell in Dalen's presentation, I attended almost all of the virtual Hillel events this year. Everything I could make it to, I went. And that's because I don't have a Jewish community at my home in San Diego. And so for me, Hillel was really, really crucial in staying connected to my Jewishness throughout this past year. And I think that for a lot of students, that's what it is when you go away from home for the first time as a freshman. It's a place to sort of reconnect and find that home away from home. And then just to finish up, I want to talk about some things that I love about Santa Cruz. I love so much about Santa Cruz, but there are some things that I would change. So I'm going to talk about both of those. The things that I love, and I've said it before, I love the forest. I love how you can get on the bus and be at the beach, be downtown. Santa Cruz has such a unique personality that once you come, like you have to love it. You get to know the city, you get to know the forest, the campus. It's so much fun to just explore, whether you do it with, student orgs, student campus groups, or you do it on your own. It's so fun. I love the libraries. I love the opportunities for research. I am a super academically passionate person. I want to read and do everything I possibly can. And UCSC really helped me do that. I completed a senior thesis. I created a digital project based off of that with a fellowship through the library. I taught my research in an undergraduate class, and I'm now a research assistant for 2 of my professors. So research is possible even in history, you can do anything, nothing's off the table at this school. But then a few things that I maybe would change about the school, or just that I would have liked to know as a freshman, I think. Before I enrolled, I had this idea that it was a super liberal campus and that it was kind of like everyone just gels. That's not super true. While there are a lot of safe spaces, and generally the campus is a safe space for most people, we do have these little moments every once in a while of protest or of sort of conflict between student groups. And not to say that I've ever felt unsafe or that people that I'm involved with have ever felt unsafe, but it's not like the utopia that we try and imagine it to be. And then I think that something that Dalen touched on, one of the questions was about the division between different groups. That's something that I was told when I was first trying to see where I should go. Should I go to Chabad? Should I go to Hillel? Should I just go to a synagogue? I didn't know what to do. And there's this idea that Hillel is going to force certain ideas at you. And that is not true at all. It really is an open space, and we're all just here to learn from each other and be in community with each other. So I wanted to touch on that a little bit. But yeah, that was a lot, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Great, thank you so much, Maya. We have a number of questions for you.
Okay.
Can you talk about what your freshman experience was like?
Yeah, my freshman experience, I moved up from San Diego, where it's going to sound so silly, but the sun is out every day. And I had this sort of, I don't know, I left my shelter, and going up to Santa Cruz where it's foggy. And if you don't have the right coat, you're going to walk home drenched in rain. And it's just a lot to kind of adjust to from, Southern California. And that got me a little bit, I was stuck a little bit for a while. But some things that helped me push through that were my campus job, working at Cowell, making friends, and really finding the things that I was passionate about to take up my time and make me feel like it was a new home. And if I was drenched from the rain, at least I was with my friends, at least there were deer around, you know. It was about perspective my freshman year, but happy that I got through it. And I think a lot of people go through that during that time of transition.
So knowing that and having that experience, what would be some advice you would give to incoming freshmen?
Get some rain boots. I think the most important advice is to seek out those opportunities to find your community. And they say it a million times during welcome week, and it goes in one ear and out the other, but it is so true. You have to find the places where you belong so that you don't get lost in the school. Yeah, as soon as you can, find the people that are your people. Hopefully it's at Hillel, but wherever they may be, find them.
One of the questions we had before was about student access to professors. Can you speak to what that was like for you as a student, and did it change from freshman year to your senior year? And can you talk a little bit about that?
Definitely. So I came in proposed as a politics major, I think. And then I switched to anthropology. So I did the introductory courses for both politics and anthropology, and then history. And I found that in politics and anthropology, I was in those 200-person lecture halls, fighting a little bit to get the attention of the professor. But for students, I think, who are passionate about what they're studying, it would be a lot easier to go to, you know, if you want to connect with your professors, they're there. They stay after lecture. Even after those giant lectures, they'll stay and shake hands with every single student who lines up to shake hands with them. Like, they really do want to help. And I think in history and in Jewish studies, being one of very few Jewish studies students, I have had an exceptional experience in the amount of attention that I've received from my professors. I've had them recommend me for opportunities outside of UCSC, really amazing opportunities. And I think that is part of what made my experience so wonderful, was the access to professors and TAs as well. Everyone really wants to help you, wants to support you.
That is great. Thank you. And we are just about out of time. And so I want to take this moment before we run out of time to thank our 3 panelists for coming together tonight here on a Sunday. We really appreciate you being here, and this wouldn't be possible without your involvement. So thank you so much. I also want to let our attendees know that throughout the month of June, you can jump on the bus. There are a lot of different information sessions in the coming week and in the weeks throughout the month of June. So please, roadtriptocollege.org to find out more about the stops that are still planned. Thank you so much again, and have a good evening.